From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a huge afternoon, June 27th, 2022, with breaking news on where this economy is going. New reports out today, minutes ago, signals that the economy does not have embedded the risk of a downward spiral in the market projections. We'll go over the latest impact on that on your money, why economists, analysts, and myself are having difficulty predicting where this economy is going in the next few months. The projections today says 6 months out are not even in the embedded risks of the market. That's why you got to get a forced stimulus check that's in every U.S. state. The risk will come very quickly, and the financial cliff could be overnight. We'll go over the latest details on that, as a forced stimulus check is now in every U.S. state. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, get that incredible newsletter. And Step 3, get those huge checks, upwards of over $100,000 of stimulus per person in every U.S. state. Recession, inflation, labor, among the many issues we're trying to grapple with on a daily basis on this channel. But today, new indication from Wall Street is that there's a lot of missing elements at issue, and there's also a lot of non-embedded risk in the market. What does this mean for your money? I'll analyze it for you. It's breaking news just minutes ago. New layoffs coming for corporate America. This is among the concerns for labor as we go into a new week and more unemployment claims. Recessionary growth coming next year, and then inflationary concerns as inflation may not have peaked, and Wall Street knows it. Then we'll be looking at the data from the housing market, the data from the retail sales, and the data from the stocks today that are relatively flat. Meantime, that student loan debt forgiveness announcement coming within just days. And it's a big day and a lot of money at issue, and that's why you got to get that forced stimulus check, which is in every U.S. state. If that financial cliff is less than 90 days away, you can't be falling off of it. You got to get that money before the cliff comes. Prepare your family accordingly, and in this recording, we're going to do it all. We're going to do it all with all the breaking news of where this economy is today, and big details for members, exciting details, coming up today. Over this 1 hour broadcast, sit back and let's get some money. It's Afternoons, starting right now. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day for June 27, 2022. I'm very impressed by you because a lot of you watched this weekend shows, and that's why it's important to do, because the economy is changing so dramatically, and there's breaking news every minute by the hour. Congratulations to those viewers who stayed on top of the news, and today I'm going to get you more news, and it's all starting right now. It's important to understand that when I give you projections of where this economy is, where it's going, and where that money is, it's a projection. But my projections are different than what Wall Street's doing and whether they had those risks embedded in the market. What does that mean, LA? Let's go over the details of it, starting right now. How are you? Good afternoon. When I talk about that we're going through a series of phases as an economy, and that we're going to be in recession next year, and that the financial cliff is likely less than 90 days away, it's projections of this channel. But are those risks embedded in the markets? Meaning, has the Wall Street analysts put the risk into the stock market and their assessments? The latest news today is no. A series of analysts speaking minutes ago said that Wall Street is only looking out for the next few months. They're not looking out beyond 6 months. And so if there is a big problem happening out 6 months from now, they do not have that risk embedded in the market, even if they believe it's happening. So what is that risk? Let's go over the situation right now. That risk is really phase 3. We've talked about 3 phases on this channel. The downward spiral of this economy between now and September. Phase 2, September to January. And phase 3, January to 2024. What is 6 months out from now? It's phase 3. They have not embedded the risk into the market of whatever happens for phase 3, analysts now say today. So even if analysts believe that there's a recession next year, like I do, they've not embedded that risk into the market because it's more than 6 months out. Now, let's take it back a step. This is also breaking news. When you look at phase two, analysts want something, but also are differing about what it's called and how strong or weak it will be. And that phase two is the most important one. Phase one you're in right now, we understand the economy's slow, and we all understand that. It's pretty simple. It's phase two. What does phase two really look like? It's just 90 days away from now. It's September. I've been telling you it's going to look like the lockdown of March 2020. It's going to be a financial cliff, meaning that if you're not prepared for it, you're going to fall over that cliff. Now, Wall Street analysts do not necessarily all agree upon that it's going to be that severe. In fact, a series of reports today say financial analysts do want it to be slower dramatically because they think, this is breaking news, they think that if the economy slows dramatically by phase two, then the Federal Reserve will not come in as strong. They don't want the Federal Reserve to come in as strong as it's predicting. They think that if the economy shrinks very dramatically between now and September, then the Federal Reserve will back off. Interesting. Let's look at the analysis. The Federal Reserve will have that meeting, the FOMC meeting, to this month, in the month of July, and they're likely to do a 3/4 basis point increase. Then they're off in August. Then in September, they resume. So Wall Street's now asking how much could this economy slow between now and September so the Federal Reserve backs off. Now, this gets a little problematic, and this is all breaking news. This is fascinating stuff, folks, and we're right on top of it, you and I. Wall Street's looking for a slowing of this economy, but what would the slowing economy resemble? Well, some analysts say that inflation needs to have peaked finally and come down. Other analysts say stop talking about just inflation. Let's talk about growth, GDP. Yeah, so some analysts are not even agreeing upon what would be the resemblance of slowing this economy. Let me say another way. If everyone wants this economy to slow by September, but not slow dramatically, meaning just calm down a little bit. Calm down a little bit. Ease, have a cup of coffee. Just, no, actually, that's the wrong way. Have a cup of tea. No caffeine. Just some herbal tea. Have a nice herbal tea and a biscuit. Put your feet up and just relax. That's what they want the economy to do. What would be the element of that? Some economists say we need to have that peak inflation stop. Other economists say stop talking about inflation. We just need to see corporate earnings slow down. Other people say we need to see labor maybe actually not be as robust. Here's the problem. Big problem. The big problem, as you and I watch here, and analysts do agree upon this one today, is that there's not a lot of data between now and September. Here's the problem. With not a lot of data from now and September, it's going to look sort of like they're predicting what's going to happen in September, and they're waiting, and then suddenly, it's September. Calendar Colleen, where are you? It's September. Suddenly it's September, and then the data hits you in the face, and then it may be too late. The data may be too late, and guess what? People who haven't done anything would fall over that financial cliff. What could potentially happen right at the 11th hour? A lot of stuff. Number one, Federal Reserve would announce that third interest rate spike in September. And if that's 3/4 of a basis point, ouch. Number two, we would hear the August read for the CPI, the Consumer Price Index number for inflation, released in September. It may be too high. Ouch. Number four, we could see the non-farm payroll jobs, the job creations too high. And this is the big one. Here's the big one. Analysts are waiting for corporate earnings. They're waiting for corporate earnings. And they say we have basically a 2-week break till we see some more corporate earnings. And that is the big one they want to see. If they see a Walmart or a Target or a Dollar Tree, a Dollar General slowing dramatically, or a Nike again slowing dramatically, then they're going to say, wait a second. This is far more severe than we thought. We're slowing for it far more dramatically. They rather have just a slow sip of a cup of herbal tea rather than choking on a biscuit. Yeah. They don't want you choking on a biscuit. They rather have it slow like a nice cup of herbal tea. And the problem with that, as I just said, is when it happens, it's already happened. It's no time to prepare for you. So let's go back to what Jay Powell said to Liz Warren last week. This is the cause of concern, and this is why you have to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. The cause of concern by Liz Warren and Jay Powell was that, and especially if you don't have a forced stimulus check in your hand, it's going to be a big problem, is that there's a financial cliff potentially happening in September. And, well, they did not say September, but they said there's a financial cliff potentially happening, and we may be going over it. What was that exchange between them? While they did not give a date, they certainly explained the narrative. Liz Warren asked Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve. She, of course, is a senator from Massachusetts. And the conference was on the Senate Banking Committee. She asked Jay Powell, Mr. Chairman, is it possible that as your pursuit of the dual mandate, you may send this economy into recession? She started by saying you have a dual mandate, correct? He said, yes, correct. And the dual mandate is to, one, give maximum employment to Americans, yes. And number two, price stability, yes. Another way to call inflation. She said you're trying to get that inflation down so dramatically that you may actually not do it right, correct? He says a possibility. She said you may result in more unemployment across the board, more people losing their jobs because you're trying to get inflation under control. And his response, as world economies get very tenuous and very confusing, and it's getting harder with the data, it's very likely and very possible that we may not get it right. She said, could you be setting us over a financial cliff? He said, it's very possible. Very possible that a financial cliff would be happening. Now, what is a financial cliff? If you've never been to this channel, you just found this channel, I do three things on this channel. I tell you where this economy is, where this economy is going, and how to get money. And you need to understand why to get the money as much as how to get the money, and also how soon to get the money. The financial cliff, in my opinion, is phase two. Phase two, 90 days away, September. That is my prediction on when that financial cliff is going to happen. What is a financial cliff? Financial cliff is where people do not know something very bad is going to happen, and they fall over it. Financial cliff is a surprise. It's not something someone knows is happening. And would we know it? Yes, we would know it on this channel because we would be tracking it. Would Americans who are not watching this channel not know about it? Absolutely, they would not know about it. They would literally fall right over the financial cliff if they did not know it's coming. And let me go over the examples of it. And if you're a member of this channel, get out that worksheet right now. We do three things on this channel: go over where this economy is, where it's going, and also get you money. And over the weekend, we debut something brand new called the worksheets for members of this channel. These incredible worksheets, which I'll be going over later in a second. The first page of that worksheet goes over inflation, recession, labor, and Federal Reserve. Let's go over what happens in the case of a financial cliff in September. Millions of Americans will not be in the financial circumstance they're now. Right now, it'll be much worse. Employed people will be unemployed. People with businesses may lose their businesses. And then they're going to wake up and realize, wait a second, I thought all these other instruments of stimulus from 2020 are still around. They're not. Eviction moratorium, gone. Mortgage forbearance, gone. PEUC, PUA, FPUC, LWA, PPP, all those incredible stimuluses for unemployed people, gone. Small business owners, gone. And suddenly, they're going to have a rude awakening. If they're laid off, there may not be another job for them. And if there's not another job for them, there's no unemployment stimulus for them like they think there is. And if they're a small business owner, there is no small business owner assistance either. Suddenly, if they can't make the rent, there's no rent eviction moratorium. And if they can't make the mortgage payment, there's no mortgage forbearance. And even worse, if you can't pay the electric, water, heating oil, or gas bill this winter, it could potentially be turned off. This is why a financial cliff hitting at the 11th hour with no pre-warning would send people over the edge. And it's too late to find stimulus at that time. It's too late to find stimulus at that time because you're not going to have enough time to pivot or move, to avoid that eviction moratorium, to avoid that electric bill turned off. And here's what you need to know, is that Americans who watch this channel have been preparing for a long time. I teach videos on the channel to get stimulus when times are good. And times have been good, even to this day, enough to get the stimulus because there's a lot of it. Not to wait to the 11th hour to get the stimulus at the 11th hour because your back is against the wall. In this later half of this recording, we're going to go over the forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Over $100,000 a person. You get it now. so that you prepare for the financial cliff. That way, when that financial cliff potentially comes, whenever it comes, and I'm projecting it's September, you'll have money in the bank. You will not fall over the cliff. Americans who are not prepared for it will literally fall over the cliff. Not to be too tough, not to be too strong-willed, but let's tell you what's going to happen. Some people that think that there's a PUA for independent contractors, because see, there's no money for them at all. Think that they get unemployed, they're $600 a week on top of their existing benefits, none of it at all. Small business owners, SBA grants, none of it at all. And imagine people who can't make mortgage, eviction, can't make rent, really bad circumstances. What's important to understand is that the analysts today, ironically, and this is breaking news just minutes ago, now believe that all these risks of the economy 6 months out are not embedded in the market. But what did I just describe? Is that 6 months out, or is that 6 weeks out? It is 6 weeks out. Here's the problem and the issue today on afternoons is that when you look at the economy today, we understand that we're slowing dramatically, and we understand that there may be a recession next year. But what will happen in September? This is where analysts have a lot of confusion about the subject matter. They're not in agreement about how severe it will be, how bad it will be, how good it will be, and when it will manifest itself. What are they in agreement about? This is a very difficult economy to predict. So, what do? You stay cautious. You make sure you get every pot of money you can get later in this recording. For example, today we had new housing data released minutes ago, and the housing data was relatively good, but we've had day after day of bad housing data. We had retail sales numbers weeks ago, and it will be several weeks until we have Walmart, Target, Dollar General, Dollar Tree. We won't have that retail sales numbers. The stock market relatively flat today as it was on Friday. That doesn't really help us. We're not at the bottom of the stock market. But where is inflation, recession, and labor today? Let's look at the situation, because those are the three things we need to take notes on every day on this channel. Where is recession right now? Recession is not in the next 6 months, so the embedded risk of recession is not in the economy or in Wall Street. I'm predicting it's coming in January of next year. Number two, where is inflation right now? Inflation has not peaked. And the breaking news today is that some analysts say, stop focusing on whether inflation has peaked or not because it's not part of the equation. I don't know if I agree on that. I believe that Jay Powell's raising those interest rate spikes at those FOMC meetings in July, September, and October, whether inflation has peaked or not peaked. Let's say, for example, the CPI released in a few days from now for the month of June comes in and exemplifies that inflation has peaked. Do I think that Jay Powell's going to back off? No. I still think he's doing three quarters, half quarter for those interest rate spikes. So I don't really agree that focusing or not focusing on inflationary peak is an issue. I really do think you have to focus on whether it had. I think you have to focus on the issue of whether it's peaked and how much it's come off of its highs. Let's give you an example. If by the time the Federal Reserve meets in July, inflation has fallen dramatically, which it won't, but let's say it has, there's a very big possibility Jay Powell would not do three quarters. He may do half. September. If by September, which is 2 months out, inflation has dropped dramatically, I do believe Jay Powell won't do three quarters. He'll do half. So I don't agree on that front. Now, I'm deeply worried about labor, and I do believe bad labor numbers, and how bad do they have to be? I'll go over that in a second. This is breaking news as well today. Bad labor numbers will generally change and pivot Jay Powell's narrative. Now, here's what's really strange to me, and I'm the guy delivering the analysis of where this money is, giving the updates of where the economy is today and where the money is going. But I have a big problem as I hear everyone from Congress, the White House, even Jay Powell saying the labor market's really strong. I'm sorry, but when did 250,000 new jobless claims a week be strong? It was when it was day one of the pandemic, March 2020, and we were at 200,000 new jobless claims. We shot up to 1 million. We stayed at 1 million for 22 weeks. Then, in early 2022, we jumped down to about 180. That should be where we are right now. 3 weeks ago, we went to 200,000. Then I predicted 230. It came in at 229. I predicted 230 last week. Came in at 227. And yet Jay Powell says really strong labor market. I don't know what's going on here. So what labor market would spook Jay Powell? Remember, he has that dual mandate: maximum employment and getting down inflation. I think Jay Powell gets spooked with a labor number of new jobless claims closer to like 260 or 270. I think that would spook him. I think these 1,000-point moves every week or 2 weeks, or even 30,000, hasn't really spooked him. If it jumps up to 260,000 new jobless claims on a Thursday morning, every Thursday morning on Mornings LA, I think that would spook him enough to say, this is not strong. Now, here are the data points you need to track and the points you need to follow on this channel. You need to follow inflation, recession, labor on a daily basis, and you also have to know about what's happening with housing, retail, and stocks. For inflation, we're generally relying on the Consumer Price Index number, the CPI, released once a month. That is a pure inflationary read, and we'll get the month of June in just a few days. For recessionary numbers, we're looking at the GDP numbers. Those come out about once a month from a Department of Labor or similar, and that shows the growth of the U.S. economy. Then for labor, we have several numbers, but the one I really prefer is the new jobless claims every Thursday with the continuing jobless claims. I also like the number once a month, which is the job creation numbers. Over to housing, retail, sales, and stocks, which, as you know, today. On the housing front, a good number today, but generally a sea of bad news in the last month. When you look at the retail sales, we have a 2-week delay till we see more numbers from companies like Nike and Target and Walmart and Dollar General and Dollar Tree. And Wall Street analysts are really sort of pulling their hair out because they're getting some guidance, and I don't think they're believing the guidance. There's some guidance coming in from corporate America saying, you know what, we think we've managed the inventory. Wait a second. 3 weeks ago, you said you didn't manage the inventory. Right now, you say you are managing the inventory. So I don't think they're really buying it. So we will be a few weeks out till we have the data on the retail sales from corporate America. For the stock market, relatively flat. We're not trading up. Relatively flat in the last few days. And that is after a sea of down days. We're in a bear market. Here's what you need to know. Analysts are really being problematic and upset with one another because some analysts, and especially the stock market, housing, and labor, are taking data and running it as great news when it's really not good news. First, they believe that some housing analysts are really becoming sort of disingenuous by saying that bad news is good news to get you into a trade. Then over in the stock market, they say a lot of analysts keep on saying this is the bottom of the market to get you to come in and buy or sell. Here's what you need to know. You need to be a little bit skeptical of anyone who gives you a projection on the market, the economy, when they make money on transactions. They make money on transactions because it's a buy or sell the home, buy or sell the car, buy or sell the stock. Then they only make money on the transaction. If you're listening to this channel, you're not buying and you're not selling. And if you're sensible, you're not buying and you're not selling. You shouldn't be buying or selling in this market, and they're not happy with that. So the way they're bringing you in to buy or sell is based upon that element as well. Let's pull out that LALATE worksheet. So we just went over inflation, labor, and the Federal Reserve on page 1. Page 2 of the worksheet, which is now for LALATE members. Have you become a member? It's the talk of the town of these worksheets. They are a wonderful way to keep notes because you need to do 3 things for your family. Know where this economy is, where it's going, and get money. Page 2 of the worksheet goes over those 4 stimulus checks and gives you a beautiful grid to keep track, a table to keep track of the checks you've gotten, when you applied, and more about how you have applied. The 3rd page of the worksheets is the stimulus for seniors, the SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits going up under this stimulus, that COLA raise. We'll go over more about that later in this recording. And then the page after that is gasoline. And finally, the last page is the student loan debt forgiveness, 7th stimulus. What's the update on that one? Insiders now confirm my reporting, which is basically the president's getting this done with a final determination, final executive order. He's going to forgive student loan debt forgivenesses of $10,000 for federal student loan debts total, and that will be the end of it. For individuals who make $150,000 or less that year, which year? Not really clear just yet. And the president will then close the chapter on this. That announcement, when I believe it's going to happen before the August recess, which is late August for those congressional leaders, so he can have them by his table when he signs. He's previously gave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, and individuals who were defrauded by the university, and those debts have been forgiven as well. Now, in the second half of this video, we're going to go over those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. What do you need to know? You qualify. The 4 mandates I gave myself when finding these checks. First, let's go over why did I find these checks. Viewer of this channel back in the month of March said, LA, Congress is not going to get done. Build Back Better Act isn't going to get done. Can you go find us checks? I love the viewers of this channel. Why? Because that's exactly what you should have been saying in the month of March. Number 1. They said, you taught us, don't wait till times are bad. Don't wait till my back's against the wall. Get money when times are good. And that's what I did. I found these checks, and they're still paying out. Number 2, I like that they understood not to wait for Build Back Better Act, because guess what? That is what's going to send people over the financial cliff, waiting for Build Back Better Act to happen. Why? Because Build Back Better Act will never send you a check in your hand before September. I believe Build Back Better Act will get passed, but not before the potential financial cliff of September. There's not enough time to get you a check by September. Thank goodness I'm not having my viewers wait for that, because they would fall over the financial cliff. Viewers who are not viewers, people who are not viewers of this channel, who are waiting for Build Back Better Act, they have a big problem happening. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these big checks. Become a member, go on this video, subscribe, and hit that alert button. When you become a member, you also get those new worksheets in the membership newsletter, along with the details of all these incredible 4 stimulus checks, over $100,000 per person in every state. You also have details about the corn, the wheat, the oil, and also the Brent crude prices for that day. Now, let's go back to those checks. Eligibility was my second mandate. My second mandate on this channel was, my first mandate was big checks to ensure you get your bills paid. And measly little checks of $200, $600 ain't going to cut it. That's why these are over $100,000. Mandate number 2 for myself was broad eligibility. Viewers say, you're really good on eligibility. Very big focus of me on this channel. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on benefits, SSI or SSDI, go get them. Number 3, I want to make sure it's easy for you to get them. That's why viewers of this channel, like Carol says, LA, you do this so well. You make it very simple so that viewers understand how to get these checks in an organized, simple way. That's the membership newsletter. No one has ever seen a membership newsletter like this in the history of broadcasting. And this is why this channel is the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, heading to number 2 with a whole new look coming in less than 90 days. And then the final 4th mandate was encouraging viewers to go back and get checks on a regular basis. You're going to meet the viewers who did that and continue to do that on this channel. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as we get those big checks as Afternoons LA continues for June 27th. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And a big news continues on a big afternoon of Afternoons LA. Minutes ago, while I was doing the commercial break, I pulled up the news, and for June 27th, 2022, shares of Robinhood were halted minutes ago. This is a breaking news report that happened just after 12:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Robinhood shares jumped 12% minutes ago and were halted on news that FTX, a crypto exchange, may be trying to buy Robinhood. Robinhood was down earlier in the day across the board. That is a big shocker. And why is that a shocker? Because coming up later in this recording, we're going to go over why bank layoffs are coming left and right. Oh boy. First bank layoffs, then Robinhood is getting bought, potentially after its shares fell dramatically earlier this day, and then the shares are halted. That's a little bit dramatic. That's a lot of dramatics in one broadcast in less than 5 minutes. All right, those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Did you become a member during the commercial break? I hope you did. These checks are for you. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on benefits, if you're on SSI or SSDI, if you are married with children, without children, go get them across the board. I have to laugh. There was some person yesterday in the live chat said, "Is this just Los Angeles stimulus?" I said, just get out of here. It's just like, really. Is this just surfboard stimulus? Yeah, it's just surfboard stimulus. If you don't surf, you don't get the stimulus. It's like ridiculous. I think I said to the person, that's a stupid question. I can't believe I said that, but it really was a stupid question. Is this just 2 o'clock afternoon stimulus, and then after 2 o'clock it's gone? Yeah, it's just stimulus for the next 5 minutes, and then it's gone. No, this is stimulus for the entire country, for stimulus check in every U.S. state. The other thing that's important to understand is that this money became law in March, so it may not be around forever. It's around today. You don't wait 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, 5 days from now. You become a member right today. Let's get those incredible checks starting right now. I've given them a lettering system on this channel, and the lettering system starts at the front of the alphabet. LA, why does it start with check A? Because the check A is the front of the alphabet. Why would I start in the middle, like with M? Yeah, check A, a $6,500 to $12,000 forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, and go get it. Married couple, $150,000, go get it. It's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. How to get this incredible check? Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Go right in the video, hit that subscribe button. With over 250,000 subscribers, we're getting bigger by the day. Subscribe. Number 2. Go into the video and join the channel. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go right down the membership newsletter. You find Check A. Click the link. Go right in there. Go right to the federal website, then the state, then choose the homeowners grant, and you're ready to rock and roll, but you're not going to be done there yet. Nope. You're going to go get Check B, a wonderful $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. And if you're on benefits, go get it. What are you waiting for? Average channel viewer has gotten $66,000 to $80,000. You go right down that membership newsletter and become a member. Well, first you become a member, then you go to the membership newsletter. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, go down the membership newsletter. You find Check B. Click the link. You goes into the nationwide website, choose your state, and then you pounce. You're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get Check C. It's a beautiful check, and boy, maybe the most important check this winter. Why? It is for rent. There's no eviction moratorium anymore. You need this money for rent. It is for mortgage assistance. There is no mortgage forbearance. You need this if you're going to lose your home. It is also for utility assistance. You're going to need it because if you can't pay the heating oil bill or the gas bill, it's going to get turned off. And it's also for all the other utilities. It's a $2,000 a month over 12-month average check, monthly stimulus check, MSC, direct deposit, but many viewers of the channel have gotten over $45,000. This channel's gotten viewers over $50 million since the start on April 25th, 2020. And the money, most of it, has come from Check C. Check C. Do you want Check C? Let's look at the success stories that viewers have gotten for Check C. Check C is just astronomical. Chexie has been paying people money over and over again. Do you want $30,000 for rent? Go get Chexie. These are the success stories across the board. Do you want $15,000 for Chexie? Go get it. It's for utilities, and viewers like Mark's mother-in-law got $15,000. For Snap, viewers have gotten $25,000 a year over 10 years. That's Mark's mother-in-law. That's $250,000. And then the combinations of them. Look at those combos. Nisi, Mark, Lorraine, Johnny, and others. Nisi was at $23,000. For combinations of Chexies, she's now at $50,000. She keeps on getting checks. Mark was at $32,000. Then he went to $50,000. Then he went to $100,000. He got check B a few days ago. He's at $166,000. Lorraine, she was at $105,000. Now she's at $150,000. She's in all the live chats. So is Mark. So is Nisi. And Lorraine inspired the worksheets. Lorraine inspired the worksheets. How did she inspire the worksheets? Because I said for over 2 years on this channel, always bring a pen and paper and take notes. You know, there's people who want to learn to earn, and then there's people who don't want to learn anything. And boy, they're going to get burned. Oh, I like that. Learn to earn, or otherwise get burned. Yeah, that's a little scary. But that's the truth of the matter. And Lorraine says she's been taking notes since she started watching this channel, and her binder's full. I said, your binder's full. Let me make you some more note-taking instruments. And that was the creation of the LALATE worksheets. It's a little less than 2 days old. These incredible LALATE worksheets are in the membership newsletter. It's the first or second line of the membership newsletter. It's 5 pages. It's 1 PDF. What is it? It's a series of worksheets for you to take notes on the subject matters of this channel, and especially the stimulus. Page 1 is everything about the economy, like the Federal Reserve, interest rates, inflation. Page 2 is for stimulus, to keep track of where you applied for money and who you spoke with. Page 3 is the, I always forget what page 3 is. Page 3, is page 3 the gas? Page 3 is the FIS stimulus, for your benefits. Page 6 is 6 stimulus. It's pretty simple. No, the next page is for 6 stimulus for your gasoline, and the last page is for student loan debt forgiveness. Now, why is that page 2 so important? It's a way to keep track of what you're doing with your forced stimulus. So, for example, let's say you picked up the phone and spoke to the heating oil person, because I told you this weekend, I told you video after video, get the heating oil paid for right now to establish a relationship and to get a pattern getting paid for that heating oil bill, just a few months, so that when you go back this fall, they'll know you really well. You're going to have now a worksheet to take notes and put the person's name and the phone number and a little bit about them as well. If you have a cell phone, but you don't have a printer, what can you do? Very simple. With a cell phone, open up the PDF, look at it, and say, oh, okay, I see it. It's sort of cute. I see what it is, and first line is this, and second line is that. Okay, you can then get a scratch piece of paper at home and just write out the same sort of things on the scratch piece of paper that you see from the PDF you open on your cell phone. If you have a printer, or you have access to a printer, then you can send it from the phone to the printer, or just or print it on your computer. And then you have the worksheets in front of you and take notes right on there. Either way, you can either replicate it, or you now see a way to follow along and make notes on a separate piece of paper. This can be the paper, or you can make another piece of paper that mirrors this one as well. And viewers are loving it. And thank you for your wonderful comments. If you have any other suggestions about that, send them to me on air. And if you have any success stories for the monies from forced stimulus in recent days, sent to me on air, and I'll feature them as well. The benefits are going up. How much? Well, the Social Security Administration Chief Actuary, Steve Goss, says 8% about. What is he looking at? He's looking at that May CPI read, the Consumer Price Index number. Now, that May number has been released, but we have not had yet the June, the July, the August, the September. What determines what's going on? July, August, and September's CPI-W. It's a subsection of the CPI. It's all featured in the membership newsletter for you to follow along with this calculation. But he's looking at what we got for data in May. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at what's going on with gasoline. If there's no deal on gasoline, then gasoline will continue to track higher. And if gasoline tracks higher, then the CPI-W goes higher. And then your benefits go higher as well. So based upon my projections of what the White House is not going to do with gasoline, I'm projecting the CPI to go higher than Goss is. And we'll see as a family if he got it right or I got it right in July, August, and September. That determines your benefits. Remember, 8% is about $300 per month. You got it, SS300. But if I'm right, I'm projecting about 9% raise, not 8%. And the Seniors League, they're looking at about 8.6% across the board. Here's what you also need to know as we go into a big afternoon. What you need to know as going into a big afternoon is that there is really an important time at issue today. And that important time is really now to September. You know, if we pull up that graphic from before, we understand now, based upon what Wall Street's analysts said minutes ago, that these stages, what's important to really understand is getting right now to September. Let's understand why. Analysts and myself now all believe the same thing. In spring of this year, actually in February of this year, I was the first American broadcaster in financial news to report we're going into recession next year. No one was reporting that. In fact, banks didn't want to say it. The first bank was Deutsche Bank in April, months later. Even right now, at the time of recording, some banks still do not want to use the word recession. Some analysts don't even want to say when the recession is. But most people now believe that there was a recession next year, just some of them disagree when. The next part of the equation is today. We all know what today is because we're living today. And we understand generally what tomorrow may look like because it's much the same of this downward spiral until those corporate earnings come in 2 weeks from now. Then today may look a little bit more bleak. Well, here's the part of these phases that we don't really agree upon. Phase two. Phase two. We either don't agree upon among financial analysts or we just don't have an opinion. I have an opinion. They don't. They're waiting to see what happens with corporate earnings. They're waiting to see what happens with the CPI. They're waiting to see what happens with inflation, recession, unemployment. I'm really not waiting. I believe that's happening in September. There's a difference as to how abruptly it happens in September through January. Remember, I have a whole range of periods in that number two. But I believe that the stark reality will be anyone waiting for September to happen is going to fall off the cliff. If you're waiting for September to happen and you're not getting money for your family right now, you'll fall off the cliff. If you're waiting for September to happen and you're not paying attention to the news, you're going to fall off the financial cliff. And if you're not even waiting for September and you're just living your life as phase one and thinking phase one will continue for the rest of this year, when it's not, you're going to fall off the financial cliff. A recession is likely, but the word recession should not send you into a web of confusion. Why? Gasoline is part of the consumer price index number. That and cost of goods you buy at the supermarket. If gas goes higher, the CPI goes higher. If the CPI goes higher, the Federal Reserve raises rates. And if the Federal Reserve raises rates too much and does not bring down gasoline, because that does not impact gasoline, you go into recession. Now remember, the recession should not be a good and bad analysis in your thought process. You shouldn't say, oh, phase three is the recession, so I'm good until we have a recession. No, you're not good, because phase two is the lead up to the recession, a downward spiral economy. Downward spiral economy is as bad as a lead up to a recession. In fact, if you're not prepared for it, it could be a lot worse. Anything you're not prepared for is not good. Let me go hit that point a little bit stronger starting right now. And this is, of course, new as well for today, for June 27th, 2022. I almost forgot what day it was. What's important to know is that getting hit on the wrong side of the economy is the worst thing that can happen to you. And it doesn't matter if it happens in recession or it doesn't happen if it happens in phase two. It's just being on the wrong side when you get hit. Let's say you're buying stocks right now thinking this is the bottom, and then the stock market does exactly what I'm projecting. Down another 27% because in a recession, it goes down 48%, we're only down 26%. You're on the wrong side of the equation, you're getting hit really badly. What about going out and buying a house right now? Think it's going to appreciate in the next 2 years, and you're going to flip it. And then you buy it and the market tanks, and then the valuation's gone down dramatically. Yeah, it's not going to be good. Or let's say you open up a retail sales store because you think the retail sales are going to be bonzo business for the next 2 years. And then suddenly retail falls apart. Yeah, so that is part of the equation of what you need to know, that if you're on the wrong side of the market, you're going to be hit really badly. Ultimately, 3 things you must do. Number 1, you must remove as much costs in that household that you have. Remove those costs right away. Number 2, remove the adjustable rate debts. That's student loan, that is car loans, credit card debt, and switch to fix it if you can, otherwise pay it off, because as Jay Powell raises those rates, things are going to go through the roof. Next, get as much stimulus as you can. And then focus on what you need to do for your family daily. Number one, you need to know where this economy is. Number two, you need to know where this economy is going. And number three, you need to get as much money, stimulus, as possible. Save it up. Knowing where this economy is going is knowing where inflation is and recession and labor on a daily basis. You need to watch the videos throughout the day on this channel. You can't disappear for 3 or 4 days or 4 or 5 hours because there's too many events happening by the minute, by the day, by the moment. And number three, get that housing, retail, sales, and stock understanding in your mind. You don't have to know exactly the data, but understand, is it bad? Is it worse? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Is it improving? Is it getting worse? You need to understand that, because if you understand that, then you'll be prepared for your family. Knowledge is king, and the viewers of this channel are very smart people. They are very smart people. They breed on knowledge. People who want to learn will earn. People who don't want to learn will burn. That's what's going to happen. People just read a title of something. Don't read the book. Don't want to know why something is happening, just the when. You know, let's go over that actually. For example, anyone who starts a sentence with when, they are really going to get burnt. They're going to get burnt by this economy. When? Because you know the rest of the sentence is all bad. When is money? Oh, you just know the sentence is going to get bad. I don't even have to finish the sentence. That's someone who's going to get burnt. If someone says, how? Ooh, that's a smart person. That's a really good person. They're going to be on top of this economy. They're going to do really well. How is, oh, this sentence is going really well. And then someone will ask, why would, oh, also really good. Someone asks the why or the how. Those are people going to do really well in this economy between now and September and thereafter. The why, the how people. People start a sentence with when. Oh, when. They're just really going to be out to left field. They're not going to do well, and I fear for them, but ultimately, I can't record for them. I'm not here for that person. Ultimately, I can do as much as I can to get them over to the good side, but they want to stay on the black side of the star. Darth Vader will help them. And maybe Mitch will, be visiting them as well. But with that, we got a lot of shows coming up later today. Evenings LA picks up its feed at 5 o'clock. It's America's most watched show for financial news. And then we got shows throughout the evening. But did you become a member? Let's recap what you need to do. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Go right on this video, hit that membership link. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power Calcino VIP. Step 3, hit that alert button so you get alert when anything is announced on this channel, because you can't miss a video. Did you miss the Mornings LA video today when I talked about solar stimulus? True or false? Is there really solar stimulus for the home? Is this a brand new stimulus check for the home? True or false? It was featured on Mornings LA, and if you miss Mornings LA today, you missed that element of that recording. It's not being repeated any other time soon. And if you miss this show, you may have missed the breaking news that Robinhood is halted as it surged 12%. Also, in the same day, this breaking news story, which you may not hear any else other time today. Corporate layoffs are coming to banks. Banks are set to announce major corporate layoffs as they say they hired too many employees during the pandemic, and those employees are not delivering revenue. Yes, we're not talking about tellers in the bank. We're talking about corporate jobs in the banks. The major banks are set to announce layoffs as many as 15 to 20% of their employees because they're not delivering the revenue. The revenue is down, and those employees have not delivered. Too many employees, not enough revenue. They could be out the door. That's why you got to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Become a member, and I'll see you next on Evenings LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California. God bless. Have a beautiful afternoon, and stay with LA for more.